Good morning, everybody. A very warm welcome to our budget breakfast event, held for the very first time virtually this year. We've continued to call this a breakfast event, a bit cheeky maybe, as we're having to provide your own food and drink yourselves, I'm afraid. I hope you have something to eat and drink whilst we present our thoughts and insights into the 2021 budget delivered yesterday by Rishi Sunak. This is his second budget as Chancellor of the Exchequer. Before we start, I wanted to take you back to last year's Scrut and Bland budget breakfast. The budget took place on the 11th of March and our event was scheduled for the next morning, the 12th of March. So we're about 1 week earlier this year. I can remember the COVID storm gathering pace in the days leading up to the event. The Friday before the 2020 event, we were still planning to run our event face to face, but the storm clouds were building. They were growing, they got darker, they got blacker and more threatening. And whilst the national lockdown had not yet been announced, we took a very responsible decision to cancel the face-to-face event and instead to record our presentations, which were then streamed out to you, available to watch later that day. So this year, we're bigger and bolder and streaming live to you this morning, and we have approximately 600 people online. But what a year it's been. On 23rd of March 2020, the nation entered its first national lockdown, something very alien to us all, with the scope and the extent of the impact being completely unknown. I recall those days clearly, where we felt that we were free falling off a cliff, not knowing how long or how far we would fall. Everybody has been affected by COVID lockdown. Those in business needed to react quickly to remodel their strategies and businesses and processes to enable their trades to continue. It's been a stressful and challenging time. There has been government support for self-employed, for workers through the furlough scheme and other measures such as the bounce back loans, the business rates reliefs and the grants, all of which have been extended and modified as the longevity of lockdown and the effect we have seen on the nation's economy has taken effect. So lockdown number 1 was partially relaxed and eased into the summer, with initiatives such as support your local high street and the controversial Eat Out to Help Out scheme. Unfortunately, the prospect and concerns of a second wave was soon to become reality, and lockdown number 2, less strict than the first, started aptly on Bonfires Night and lasted through to the 2nd of December. Soon after this finished, Christmas was upon us, and the initial relaxed rules and guidelines were soon changed and tightened due to the new strain of the virus known as the Kent strain, which was found to be more contagious and infectious than the existing variant. Then lockdown number 3 from 4th of January 2021. In the depths of winter, short days, little or no sunshine made it feel for many the biggest and most challenging lockdown of all. However, as the days have become lighter, brighter and warmer, the various vaccines, having been approved, are being rolled out at an impressive rate. And on 22nd of February, Boris Johnson announced the proposed dates for social easing, subject of course to the pandemic and infection rates continuing to move in the right direction. So in spring, the nation looks forward with optimism that the current new life as we know it may revert to a more traditional state where we can socialise, travel and probably annoy each other face to face rather than socialising virtually with the phrases of "you're on mute," "I can see you, can you see me," and "nice to meet you," which have been our only option during COVID times. Yes, Zoom meetings, Microsoft Teams meetings and WebEx. We have all been forced to make these work, and there are certainly some positives, but some negatives too, I think. I heard earlier this week that Zoom fatigue is official. It does exist. Good to hear that none of us are alone and feeling that "oh no, not again" as we reach for our headphones and mic, often with only seconds between meetings. Lockdown has been tough for everybody. We've all had new challenges ranging from lockdown hairstyles and haircuts, lockdown facial hair slipping from the top to the bottom of our faces for some of us maybe. We've become a nation of gardeners, of DIYers, of walkers, of dog lovers, and for the first time in history we can all play a part to save the human race by lying in front of the TV and doing absolutely nothing. It would be nice that we can't screw that one up. A new respect has evolved for the NHS for the enormous strain this has put upon those committed to their roles, and the term "stay safe" has become a recognised and respected way of signing off with others. We've clapped and banged our saucepans on Thursday evenings to show support of those most at risk on the front line. Let's hope that homeschooling will not be necessary going forward when schools reopen next week, and that there will be a continuous period of education both physically and mentally for children and young people. Juggling work with homeschooling will have been a massive hurdle for many. Repairing the damage caused by the pandemic and looking forward will take time to mend and heal for us all in so many ways. Everybody is trying to find a new norm for our working day and where this is to be performed. What a strange and stressful time it has been looking back from week 50 of lockdown. Without exception, I'm sure we all agree that the underlying feeling of anxiety is something we wish to banish to the past as movement and travel begins to unlock in the UK and extends to worldwide travel. I'm certainly looking forward myself to hopping on a plane and seeing more of the world as I had done previously. So anyway, back to the budget. Last week, Rishi Sunak said he needed to level with the people and make it clear the shock of the economy caused by COVID has caused severe financial hardship. National debt now stands at 2.13 trillion, more than 99% of GDP, and this leaves Britain more sensitive than ever to interest rate rises due to the level of its borrowing. We now have the highest level of national debt since 1963. Our budget deficit this year has already reached £271 billion. That's £221 billion more than last year this time. And by the end of the month, we expect the deficit to total £393 billion, which will be the highest amount in any year since the Second World War. Unemployment is rising, currently 5.1%, according to the Office for National Statistics, the highest for 5 years. And many predict that this will get worse as the government support begins to trail off and businesses need to make decisions on their viability and the future. The leisure, hospitality and retail sectors are clearly going to struggle to rebuild their businesses. Changes to our town centres, our city and shopping centres create a different outlook, and the pandemic has no doubt accelerated the pace of such change. Whilst further help has been announced yesterday, this of course comes at a huge cost to the nation. So, yesterday's budget and the fiscal fireworks of the nation. What was announced and what will it mean for you and your business? I'm delighted to tell you about our speakers this morning. We start with Luke Morris, our corporate finance partner, with his insights and interpretation of the economy and the cost of COVID in the short, medium and longer term. Then to Faye Howard, our private client tax partner, looking at individuals and how you will be affected. Grant Buchanan, our financial planning partner, then follows and looks at the planning opportunities for you and your wealth and how those investment markets have fared over the last 12 months. Gavin Birchall, our tax advisory partner, follows to run through property taxes, VAT and capital taxes. And finally, it's back to me for corporate and business tax changes. I'm afraid there's no ability for you to ask questions during our presentations today. As I've mentioned, with 600 people online, this would be challenging to say the least. But at the end of our presentations, you'll be able to talk and chat with any of the speakers in more detail, as we are creating breakout rooms for you to join them and ask any questions or to gain further insights into the topics covered. The links to those breakout rooms are shown towards the bottom of your web page, and the rooms open after all of our presentations have finished. We'll be speaking for about an hour and a quarter this morning, and our presenters will be in the chat rooms through to 10 o'clock this morning, should this be of interest. So, without further ado, I'd like to hand you over to Luke Morris.